What is up, guys? It is Ever, back with another video. Today I thought I would touch base on my favorite video so far in this challenge and kind of give like a critique in a way and kind of go over some of the process of it. I wish I kept some mess ups and stuff so I could do a blooper reel, which is kind of, kind of shows the natural process of creating film, because there's always going to be like the one take that's not great, or how you kind of trip up and then things like that. But anyways, so this is my favorite video. Obviously, I think, well, not obviously, I think this one was like what I meant to do, throughout the challenge, was make videos more like this. Now, it wasn't perfect, but it was essentially the idea of what I wanted to do, is to take what I've learned and apply it into a short film, which, a short film in general, right now I'm probably just going to do more standard, just kind of things playing out throughout the day, make them cinematic, make them look good, practice those things and go from there. So first and foremost, this effect I saw on Instagram. It wasn't too hard to do. Essentially, I should break it down on how I did it, but essentially you do an effect. I forgot what it was called. I think it was called window or something, and you essentially color grade this. So I made a white text, and then I did an overlay, and then all you do is essentially like you do white, or you kind of mark this here, and then you not sharpen it, but feather it out as much as you can. As you can see, there's still little white dots here and there, which I probably could have feathered it out a little bit more, but still, it was good. And so then you essentially zoom in. Well, what you do is you essentially make the font bigger to where it's all white. And when you do that, it kind of gives that effect of it's kind of zooming in and that's all you do. And so I'll break it down in another video on how I did it and stuff. But so first and foremost, this was the first storyboard kind of video that I made. I guess the main thing here is I honestly storyboarded all the way up until the kitchen. From there, I kind of freestyled everything, and then so I think it was a process of when I got the creamer is when I'm like, you know what, let me make breakfast. I haven't eaten today, so I started grabbing other stuff, and I'm like, great, now I'm gonna have to, well, not great, I was like, okay, we'll just freestyle, just film it making eggs at different angles, and we'll just go for it. And so had all of this kind of planned out. And what's crazy is like, so there is funny, like you can tell I'm still learning, because here it's such a blue hue and I'm using a very bright white light, and then here for some reason it just changes like to this kind of gray, maybe, I don't know, like it was a weird transition there, but didn't really color grade it too much, which I probably should have worked on that. What's funny is the room isn't dark. I really just lowered the ISO as much as I could, and then I filmed, like the room was bright, and essentially I just kind of turned everything off, got myself into frame, and then was very dark, and then just filmed kind of looked at it and just saw how, until I was visible essentially in the frame, is where I kind of brightened the stuff and dropped the ISO and stuff like that, which with phone cameras especially, you can only really control ISO and shutter speed. The aperture is very particular. I don't really think you can control it unless you have a certain app, or even if it's controllable, but I think it kind of takes one thing out of the pictures that's kind of set in stone, and you can only work with the other two. And then other than that, you just need to use the natural light to kind of help yourself brighten the image. And so all of this was essentially different angles. I literally had my tripod in front of me and I was holding it while walking. So as you can see, you can kind of see the steps, where like the steps kind of vibrated to the camera and kind of made it shaky, and then did another establishing shot. And so like a lot of this is, did establishing shots. Okay, where was I going? Learned to do that. Kind of a close-up detail. Okay, grabbing the coffee, and another establishing shot. The one thing I did notice myself, and you're gonna notice really, is I felt very unnatural, because I was like that slam of the thing, like, do I really do that? No, like you really just put it down. So I gotta remember to stay natural in this and go from there. And this was pretty cool. I just kind of propped up the camera, opened it, and just made sure I was in frame, grabbed some eggs, some bacon, and then made a face like, oh yeah, maybe, you know, we'll add it to it, and some cheese, and whatever. Slammed that. So like all this stuff. And then I didn't even notice that some of this bacon came out. I don't know what that slap was about, but you know, I did like all these cuts, you know, like turning something on, cutting to what the action was. Right here, I feel like that was a little too long. I know it's, you know, I know I'm talking about my favorite video, but I also thought maybe critiquing on what I could have done better is, from my point of view, just looking at it again. Honestly, I think I did great on this video, but I mean, you could always look and improve. And so right here, I feel like, you see how I cut, as soon as I turn, I cut. In this, just, I felt was holding a little too long. You know what I mean? Like, it was just kind of there in that same frame. And when I was rewatching it, I was kind of thinking, okay, each different action could be a different angle. So for right now, actually, this is perfect. So right here, I am, let's see, hold on, let me see. Okay, so right here, right? I'm doing actions in the background, but all you guys are watching is the pot on fire, or like getting heated up. I could have recorded myself grabbing the eggs, you know, grabbing the eggs, moving, or maybe even opening the carton and grabbing the eggs and setting them aside, grabbing everything and moving it to the, or like shift perspective to where you can see me doing all those things. And so all of this, I feel like there was too much in one angle. So I put it in my head. I was like, don't get me wrong, you don't have to like change every angle every time, but like, I think part of the learning curve for this is, think any action can be a new angle. So I think action, angle, so AAA or double A, excuse me, double A. I'm making this up as I go. So I'm thinking action equals angle, so you can change it during an action, right? And so here too, like, I didn't realize my shoulder was getting in the way. I grabbed the bacon. I could have changed from me grabbing the bag, for a close-up shot of me grabbing the bag, the detail, to pouring it into the pot, and then right there, grabbing that and doing that, change angles, you know, rather than having it the same angle, change to a different angle. There, grabbing the spoon, maybe make that a little bit quicker, moving the stuff, and this too, right here. So like, I grab an egg, and then I crack it, and then I get unfocused because of my sleeve getting there. But I crack it. I don't even show you guys pouring the egg in there. It's just off screen, which I don't have to show you guys everything, which is, I mean, it's a balance, right? But then I'm like, okay, let me show them cracking the egg, and then I drop it. Oh no, that's not the one I drop. This is the one I messed up on. And the reason I left that there was because, like, mistakes are made, right? Any one of the comments being like, oh, don't make eggs for me, they're crunchy egg. Okay, first of all, I didn't leave pieces of the egg in there. Obviously, it just happened to fall. And so, but I feel like also that could have been a different angle, because I feel like that's the same angle for like and then another action, right? Another action. I could have changed maybe the camera in front of me and like stirred there, or made it a POV, which I kind of tried, and you're going to see this is where I tried. So all I did was I had my phone, my tripod right here. This looks so unnatural, and the reason I was like, I don't like the left, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing left and right angles all the time. There's got to be a different way to do angles. And so what I did was I made the tripod as short as possible. I put it under my armpits, and then I had the camera like right above the eggs, and I seriously was just like, I had to like reach over, and like, as you can tell, I'm very awkward. I'm like stirring it, but not fully stirring it, because I didn't want to drop the eggs. And so I was just leaving all that, and then I was like, okay, let me just do that, and then cool. And so I moved the pot, and so that was how I did that angle, which I feel like, in, I guess, retrospect, I should have just done a different angle. I have other things I could have used. I could have used this thing that I have in this little studio, which is like a kind of like a mount for that came with this tent that I'm in. But essentially, I mean, you can use different things. I could have like you could just tape your phone somewhere for like a little bit or whatever. But hey, but you use what you can, right? And so, and this is another thing. This is another one where I'm like, okay, poured the cheese. That was an action. Didn't show. Now I'm stirring. Change an angle. You know, change a different angle, do something. You know, even from afar, I just, you know, I didn't even. What's funny is I haven't done any establishing shots of like what I'm doing. So what I feel like I could have done here was maybe shot behind myself, like kind of stirring, and then I move the pot again to the same spot, which is weird. And this is where the unnatural stuff comes in. I'm like, I grab that and look at, who does that? Okay, first of all, when you ever make breakfast, who grabs the bowl with both hands and goes, like, no one does that. And so like I need to learning to be natural with it and stuff, and then you go from there. And pouring the eggs, I mean, that was a decent angle. That was okay. Don't know how I did this. Oh, I just kind of put it there and just pop the eggs down and stuff. Same angle. And you see right there, I could have changed the angles. Change angles there, which I do change here. Which I thought was okay, but now, like, you know what's funny was, so I'm the only one who drinks that coffee, and I'm actually really the only one who uses a little pot thing for some reason. And I know maybe some of my roommates do, but I was like, I should have used the spoon, because like the fact that I used my finger was like kind of weird, and it's like, and I just kind of like did that and stuff. And then also, like, I feel like the different I could have done much more. Again, angles, like just angles, and then lighting too. Like again, this was probably I was using natural light, which is okay, right? It's not bad. But you see how that film, like, it was just like, well, again, adding a lumen would probably have worked, but again, we have to keep the lighting the same. Funny enough, it's funny, it looks dirty because this is my second cup of coffee in the day. So I was like, I'm just gonna use the same mug, and you can tell right away, right there, it was like this little stuff here and there, but it was the same cup I used, mug I used the same day. So I was like, I'm just gonna use the same thing. And so again, I think too much of the same scene. What I could have done is done unestablished B-roll, or like I think there's a word for it, where you essentially use B-roll that has nothing to do with what you're doing. So I could have had my dog just chilling there with the noise in the background. I could have had me just like stirring the eggs and maybe taking a bite and just like, you know, enjoying it and stuff like that. Also walking into frame like that. I mean, this, like, what is that? Like, I don't know why I did that whole like bit. So what's funny with that scene is I wanted to be very careful of how much I was gonna put, because what I wanted to have it do, like, I was so preoccupied with like trying to pour it very slowly, so I didn't put too much creamer into my coffee, and so I'm like going really slow, and you can kind of tell that I'm like waiting for it to touch so I could change angles to this. And here I'm like actually pouring it, and then I could have zoomed in and let that kind of like the change of like the color and everything kind of be more shown. And then I didn't show how I got the spoon, right? And then so sip a cup of coffee, which again probably could have zoomed in there and then done a different angle. But yeah, I mean, overall, so that was my favorite video. Honestly, overall, I did really well. I think I enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it too. It was kind of fun, like doing different things. It did take me, so that video took me, I mean, from idea to storyboarding, it took me about an hour and a half to kind of storyboard it well. And then there was no words, so there's no script, so that part skipped. The filming was what took the longest, right? That was like 2 or 3 hours. Now, see, that's the thing. I was rushing, right? Because I chose to do it a little later. I could have done it first thing when I woke up, you know, or even then could have taken my time. But who cares if it takes all day, you know? If it takes all day, but you're doing something. I feel like also for me, I think this challenge, doing this every single day, which again, I'm gonna repeat myself. I'm gonna go back eventually once I get more experience under my belt. I have more, you know, edits that I can do, more tools, and essentially more experience. You know, bottom line, more experience. Once I get more experience, I feel like I'm gonna have more ideas and more ways to, and then I'll have a better workflow. That's the one thing that I've learned too, is like I need to adjust my workflow. Like I'm very new to this, right? I don't know what it took to do all this. And so when I made this video, I was like, dang, it took me like 4 hours to get this done, from filming to editing to all these things. Like it took me a minute to get it done. I think it took me at least 4 hours, and even then a lot of the angles were rushed because, one, I didn't want to burn the house down like trying to get the perfect angle boiling, like cooking eggs. And that's the one thing too, when you're cooking something, I would like cook it, have the sizzle sound, but then take it off or whatever. Once you're ready with your other establishing shot, start cooking it again or whatever, take it off the heat. But my thing is, like, I feel like cooking, you need to have that storyboarded well, and then you can angle it. And the little monitor, guys, honestly, that helped me out a lot. If you guys are starting out your journey, I would say the monitor would be the first thing to invest in versus lights, just so you can practice the angles and stuff like that, because lights will come in eventually. You'll get those, and you have natural lights. You can use a lamp, you can use your room, you can use a bunch of stuff that's already in your house probably. And so that little monitor, I feel like, would be the first investment I would do. I mean, then again, I could tripod and stuff like that, but I feel like that monitor saved me a lot of time. I mean, if you're more patient than I am, sure, but I feel like that one also, like, I could literally look at the camera, like look at my camera and be like, okay, that's good. Or like the little monitor, excuse me, instead of going back and forth, and it saves a lot of time. And so overall, I think I did well. I think the more critiques is just different angles, different establishing shots, maybe even like movement, like having. See, the thing is, the one thing that does, I think, suck is I can't do those movement shots, transitions, or anything like that unless because most of it is stationary shots, right? They're static. That's what it's, static shots. They're static shots, essentially just there, and those are the shots that you can still make them very interesting. You just got to do different things. But anyways, I mean, long story. I mean, this is my favorite video of all the ones I've done, just because it's an actual short film. It's an actual little story. I mean, whether the story is, me making eggs and coffee in the morning, it's not, a full short film, but it's my first one, and so I'm proud of it. I understand that there are things I need to work on, but I am proud of it, and I'm gonna let myself enjoy that. I'm happy what I've done, and I'm proud of it because, one, I did it, I'm doing it, right, and two, I can see where I need work. I'm glad I can see it, and I'm not thinking, oh, this is the best thing ever, like there's nothing wrong with it. No, I think a healthy thing to do when you do work in art and everything, I think a healthy thing to do is to look at it, enjoy it, you got it done and everything, but be careful, because it's a double-edged sword, being critical of yourself, because I feel like, breaking things down into, oh, this could have been done better, it could put you in this rabbit hole of always stealing the joy, of achieving something and just getting it done. And so I think eventually getting it done is an achievement in itself. No one, I mean, to be honest, some people, want to start it but never do, because they won't, again, waiting for the perfect moment, whatever. And I just did it, and I looked at it like, I did it, I like it, could have done better, but hey, it's done, and so enjoy that, right? And so I think that's one thing. Just be careful with that self-criticism, but make it constructive. Don't just be like, oh, it sucks. Oh, it sucks. Well, why does it suck? Or why is it bad? Or I would also avoid those words like, oh, it's bad, it sucks, yada, yada. I think I would say, oh, that could have been done better. This is how, right? And so for me, like, different angles, and not having a shot stay static for too long, maybe like 2 or 3 seconds. And then I say actions equals movement. So move the camera when you see an action. And I'm going to try that and see how that looks. What I was worried about was filming every single action, which would have been way too much, like a montage, like stepping out of bed, opening the door, walking, whatever, getting the thing, my hand touching the fridge door, opening it. Like, I feel like that's too much, where I feel like when you do, you can find a balance, right? And so, I mean, it's just going to take practice, ultimately. Anyways, thank you guys so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. This is day 29. Tomorrow is day 30. And so I'm excited. I am a little nervous because tomorrow I am going to have to film probably all day. And so get that done. and get that done and hit 30 days. And so we'll see what I'm excited for the next few weeks. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Put in the comments what I could have improved on, what short film you guys want to do. If you guys are interested, honestly, just do one short. I'd say this: if you're gonna do a short film, if you want to do something like this, just do you making coffee. Just make something. Just make a video of yourself making coffee or making eggs. Something, right? Film it, get it done, and then use that as B-roll. Even if you didn't want to use it for whatever, for like what I did and made a short film, use it as B-roll, right? Talking over like, oh, this is the day of the life of a pre-veterinary medic student or a car mechanic or whatever. Like, you know, use it as B-roll. It's like, oh, I wake up in the morning, make some coffee, then I head to the shop, and you know, yada yada. Who knows? You can do so much with cinematic shots like this, and then talk over it and kind of talk about your day and what you do. And so, thank you guys so much for watching again for the third time. And as always, keep on filming, guys. Peace.